Abusia mosomfo ofani na so asate na se biem mede nkomo bi na eba enti bebe me na so benya bre na obegye bre na eti nkomo yi mababura enuaba bi akache na enuaba na to anamo bi a ehu yi pa maybe that my friend ama but ni di na bro for the Andrea.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. Abusia ohwa me sabe kum so Andrea ne te ho no e dey na de nkomo we aba Andrea Ghana ni a UK na watena ko school eye na dwuma wo UK adwuma papa o nya dwuma bone o pro to tamale demonstration na me meet Andrea me na tena ase di nkomo for some few minutes na me bisa na nsem ba ko me no bi na omama hu se Andrea say take ton time oni UK to nkwanta pa mapai asesa di kuku ne kaka adaya oba Ghana oba Ghana bebo no ho da really Andrea.
Yes.
Well, welcome once again.
Thank you.
Are you okay?
Why? Why wouldn't I be okay?
Are you fine? Not about physical fine. I mean,
mentally.
I'm not an insult, but please don't be offended.
No, I'm not offended. I'm not offended.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm very fine.
Why have you decided to leave the UK and come to Ghana?
You know, do you want a short answer or the long answer?
How best you can put it.
Okay. The short answer is I was called to come. That's a short answer, if I'm completely honest with you.
You were called to come. It's
Definitely.
A calling.
It was a calling.
How long have you been in the UK?
So my whole life.
Were you born there?
Yes.
You were born there?
Yes. My whole life.
So do you understand our local languages?
Yeah, I speak Tree. I speak Fanti. Well, I understand my Fanti is not great. But I speak Tree.
You speak Tree.
No, well, so we're going to do the interview in English. I don't want your loyal followers to come and insult me.
Oh no, they won't insult you.
We'll speak in English.
So you were born in the UK.
Yes.
You've lived there. Up to now.
Mm-hmm.
So since when did this calling? Did you started hearing this calling?
You know the thing when you grow up in the UK, as a black person growing up in the UK, as an African person growing up in the UK, you have or you're taught that if you do everything right, you go to school, you get a good job, you do this, you do this, you do this, everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I had a comfortable life. I had a very comfortable life. I had a good job. I made good money. I had a beautiful apartment. I had a nice car. Everything was cool, but something was missing. You understand? Something is missing.
You realize something is missing.
Yes, inside, in my heart, in my soul, something is missing. And I'm an educator, so in the UK, I've started from primary school all the way to university. I'm like maybe 1 year from finishing my PhD. So I've gone the whole journey, right?
In terms of education.
In education, after you do a PhD, there's nothing left for you to do.
Yeah.
You understand? So my PhD is in education. So as I kind of evolved as a person, like I went to church and I was like, this is not really working for me. I left church. And I think in 2019, when the pandemic started, you know, a lot of people, the UK, life completely grind to a halt.
Okay.
Right, so we're doing everything at home, you're teaching online, you're doing all these things. And you kind of begin to kind of reflect on life. And I'm like, you know, it's just not, something's not hitting there. So I'd started to kind of think about spirituality, and I began to look into African spirituality. I began to look into like African history properly.
Okay.
Because, you know, as much as in the Ghanaian education system, they don't teach Ghanaian history well. Right? Every young person that I speak to, they have this completely misinformed idea about the history of Ghana, what Ghana was like before slavery and colonization, during slavery and colonization, the impact or why we even have these issues in this country. A lot of people do not understand the significance that the UK, the US, and these other global superpowers play in the direct demise of Ghana. So as an educator, you begin to look into the history of everything, and I began to look into the history of education in Ghana. And, you know, mass education in Ghana started during the slave trade, right? Before children were educated in their community. You're educated so that you are responsible for your community,
Community,
not
yeah.
just your home,
Exactly.
your whole community. So you know the things that grow in your community.
Yeah.
You know the local rivers in your community. You know where the water's coming. You understand
Yeah.
your
And
community.
you know your responsibility.
You know
in
your
the community as
responsibilities.
well.
Now, when colonialism came to an end, right? When slavery came to an end, I say an end because I don't really believe it's ended. They needed to move people from being forced to work to wanting to work.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
And so the education system that was introduced to Ghana was that I'm going to give you just enough knowledge and understanding so you will do the things that I want you to do as your slave master.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
And that thing still happens today. Right? When we talk about these things, even when we talk about independence was only 64 years ago. Right? And we've gone backwards. A key player in that is education, our education system. One, we measure whether or not the education system is good by whether or not it is by British standards or American standards. We don't live in Britain or in America. You
So
understand?
during COVID-19 period, you sat down to do all this kind of research
all
to
this
find
research.
out how we live in and how the reason
Yes.
why our society is as it is.
Yes. And it bothered me. Like my heart was hurt, it was aching my heart. And you know, in the UK, like the job that I do, I write policy recommendations. I do a whole bunch of other stuff for the education system in the UK.
Okay.
We do a lot of lobbying. My background is early childhood, so like we call it kindergarten here.
Okay.
A lot of work in that. But I also came to realize, even when I came to Ghana last year, I was invited to a policy briefing with Ghana Education Service, and they had introduced their first early childhood policy. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking through this policy, and I'm listening to them talk. And I'm like, everything in this policy, not everything, let me be fair, 80% of what is in this policy is things that we have actively rejected in the UK.
Okay.
And that's what they're selling to the Ghanaians. That's what they're selling to Africans. You understand? And it feeds this system where you feel like somebody else is going to solve your problems. You feel like either God
You expecting
or, you understand?
supernatural
There's
intervention.
no critical thinking, there's no creativity, there's none of these things. So I felt like me putting all my energy in the UK, I'm directly contributing to the oppression of my own people.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
So it was bothering me. This thing bothered me it bothered me. And I was meditating, and I had what I can only really call an out of body experience, right? And it was almost like I was transported out of my body, and I saw myself in Ghana, and I saw the work that I needed to do, right? And I think we're going to talk about that later, so I won't go into that now, right?
Oh my goodness.
So, and this was in June last year.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And I saw the work, I saw the whole plan, I saw the whole everything. And it was like, okay, so I need to move to Ghana. And so in August, I moved my stuff. So literally 2 months later.
Last year, August.
Yeah. So I came last year, and then I went back in December because I had to go and do some stuff for my PhD. And that ended up being delayed, and I came back. So when I tell people this story, even my mom, she's like, so what's your plan?
I want to ask you, when you decided to make this move, how was the reaction of your family? Your mom, your dad, your siblings?
Everybody was, my siblings, I think my sisters are like, yeah, this makes sense for you. Because when I talk about things, I'm always talking about the fact that as Africans, as black people, we have to take responsibility for things, blah, 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 blah. So my sisters were like, yes, it's like a natural step for you. My mom, on the other hand, is like, you're getting old. When are you going to get married? When are you going to have a kid? You need to buy a house. You need to, even just yesterday, we were having the same conversation. And I said to her, I can only do what my soul tells me to do. You understand? So I could stay in London and be comfortable, but internally, I'm not happy.
You won't be happy.
I won't be happy. So, even being in Ghana here, I always say to people, ask yourself why everybody always flocks to Ghana. As a black person, when you are here, there's a particular peace that you have. Regardless of the nonsense in the country, there's a peace that you have here that you will not have anywhere else.
Okay.
If you really listen to your mind, your heart, and your soul, the internal peace that you have here, you don't have it anywhere else. And that's the reason why so many people are leaving. Every time I talk to somebody and they say they want to leave Ghana, I said, ask yourself why. Not just native Ghanaians, white people, Chinese people, Thais, all these people. Why do you think everybody's flocking to Africa? Which is the thing. It's like the other thing is part of my job is looking at history, the patterns that happen through history, and seeing and predicting what's going to happen.
Okay.
Everything that I've predicted in the last 10 years have come to pass. Even when I'm in my lectures, because I teach in a university, right?
Okay.
I warn my students, pay attention to this, pay attention. To this day, I get emails from my students saying, Andre, you warned us about this thing. Andre, you warned us about this thing. Right?
Andrea, a teacher in the university in the UK.
Yes.
I've decided to come to the Living Legends country. Andrea, you know something? 90% of the youth in this country right now, whether by land, by sea, by foot, they want to leave this country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me, myself, I'm part. We classify UK, America, Europe as heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I started my channel, I named my channel Hell on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I changed the name.
Mm-hmm.
Why have you decided all of a sudden? What was this inspiration? Is it Holy Ghost that spoke to you to leave heaven?
The ancestors
spoke to you.
You know, heaven is such an interesting concept.
I know,
right?
we will not go there.
Heaven, because for me, the UK and the US is hell.
Come on, hold on, please. You've been in Ghana for how many months now?
3 months, 4 months.
Good. The reason why we classify here as hell, not as in the religious concept.
I know.
Even if as in the religious concept, a bit. Now, over here, our road system, health system, education, talk of security, even the air we breathe, surrounding, human relation, is very low, very down. Compared to the UK, America, health system, road system, job, financial ability, some kind of support that makes you feel like you are living over there is way, way better. That is why over here we classify it as heaven.
I understand why.
Yeah.
I understand why.
So why would one leave such environment and change and come here?
No, I understand why. And the thing is, it's not like I don't understand. I understand why people see that.
Weren't you comfortable in that system?
No, I was comfortable. But and this is the problem. Right? This is the problem. How you understand? We are now, as a nation, we are where America was 200 years ago. For better or for worse, this is the situation that we are in. Right? The difference is if we are smart as a country, as youth, as people, our education system should be teaching us this is how people achieve certain things in the nation. Right? This is your strength. You are a journalist. Right? These are the way different journalists around the world operate. Use your own strengths to use that to bring awareness to people. I am a teacher. I am passionate about personal development. I believe that the education system should allow each individual to use their own gifts and strengths to make the world a better place. I gear my whole teaching practice around that. You understand?
Yeah.
If we learn and take responsibility for things in this country ourselves as individuals, I promise you within 10 years this whole place will change. I would like the reason I left is because I believe in that thing. And even how I came to meet you guys, right? Because
I was coming to that. It's like a pattern.
Honestly,
we met at
in Tamale.
No,
on the coach. On the VIP.
VIP on our way to Tamale.
Yeah.
And before the demonstration, we had a conversation, and then you told me why you came to Ghana, and then eventually meeting Raf. And I was like, really? Is this actually meant to be?
100%. Because, before we came to Tamale, I told you I had the whole out-of-body experience. I saw that whole thing. Right? And the Christians say faith without works is dead.
Exactly.
Right? So the ancestors, God, whatever you want to call it, said come to Ghana and see. And I packed all my things and I came. Right? And I came, this time I came in November. Right? 1st of November is when I came. And I'm doing my work, I'm doing whatever. So on the 2nd of January, which was actually my birthday, Ralph came to the house. And that day I was pissed off, so I didn't even speak to him. right? Like I was in a bad mood that day. He was sitting there. I said hello. I don't want to be rude. I went into my room, and then my mom said, "Oh, I was taking an Uber. I was going out." She said, "Oh, let him come in." I was like, "Who's this guy coming in my Uber?" Like, but again, I didn't want to be rude, right?
Yeah.
So he's sitting down, and then he was on the phone, and I overheard his conversation. I said, "Oh, are you an activist?" And then that's how we started talking. And he said, "I'm going to Tamale today. Do you want to come?" And I said, "Oh, today is a bit short." He said, "Okay, let's go tomorrow." And I said, "Okay." So I came home and I said, "Okay, I'm going to Tamale." My mom said, "How can you just decide?" You understand? So
Yeah.
for me, that's a definition of when something or God or whatever tells you to do something and you actually do it. The way things have been falling into place
Yeah.
since I've been here, I can't even say it's me or it's you or it's anybody. Everything has been orchestrated. Do you understand?
That way.
So me, it's just like surrender. You know, in Christians, I surrender to you. All this nonsense that they're doing in the church.
Are you a Christian?
No.
A Muslim?
No.
A traditionalist?
You can say that, yes.
A free thinker?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
So that's what surrender really looks like. Because, you know, even if we use the Bible as an example, the whole Bible starts because the Jewish people had been enslaved for 400 years. How long were Africans enslaved for? Nearly 400 years. Right? Moses did his whole let my people go thing. And then what happened? They had to wander the desert for 40 years. Why did they have to wander the desert for 40 years? Because they still had a slave mentality. God said, "You will not enter the promised land with a slave mentality." That is where we are now as Africans. You understand? You're reading the Bible that's giving you the code. It's telling you the first thing that the Bible told the Israelites to do was to stop worshipping the foreign gods. Because that's the thing that was keeping their minds. We are reading the same Bible that tells you worship the God of your ancestors. Oh, God of Abraham, Isaac. Is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob your ancestor?
No.
You understand? The Bible told Moses to worship the God of his own ancestors. Throughout the Bible, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because once you understand the God of your own ancestors, your mindset completely changes. The second thing is, our ancestors believed the land is alive, the water is alive. You respect the land and you respect the water. The white people came and told you all of that is evil. Now all of our water systems is ruined. So which one is evil? Us that have poisoned our own water, or believing that the water is alive, so you have to honor it.
Take care of it, yeah.
So now, which is evil? We have created. We call Africa hell. We have created hell.
That hell.
Right, and we have to create the heaven.
And we are to create that heaven as well.
Yes.
Commander, na yedi adwene de che ba hwe so fra. Yedi aba no agya na dwuma nyina ato UK. Se ote atenka bi woni mu se onko n'echi na enyama ekoso woni n'echi nya na onko hye anamotu bi ase na omwa na emfa toto n'echi yi. Nti ele me no kasa yi. Ogya na dwuma ne fie ne cars nyina wo UK. Ana waduru Ghana. So they make another thing.
Yeah, me.
Good. That's how the tree come out. So
because I slow.
Okay. Now I'm in Ghana. And TV baby son, the experience in Ghana so far. You know, obi a watena system man. Acquire some security some when tontum near some once and I had been I mean, kunyo didn't have plus a chair. Would be any assembly. Then they are through Ghana. And yeah, you've been in Ghana for some months now. How is your experience so far? Our systems, our transportation system, lighting system, network system. How are you feeling in the system?
It's interesting. It's definitely a big
compared
adjustment.
to the UK.
Yeah, it's definitely a big adjustment. The convenience of roads, the convenience of electricity, the convenience of even internet is what makes life easy. Yeah, there. But as like I said, my personal kind of security, like when I came last year, and the light off situation. If we had light off in the UK like people have light off here,
yeah,
the stories you will hear, you would not believe it.
As we are comfortable in the light off over
light
here.
off, the whole area is dark.
Yeah.
Right? Light off, and people know you're a woman living in the house by yourself and there's light off. Like here, when it's dark, coming up here is pitch black. Right? And you have 6, 7, 8-year-old walking around. You think you can do that in the UK? You, one, your children will get kidnapped.
Mm.
Two, the government even recommend women do not go in the park at night time because you might get raped.
Mm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people have this mentality that there's Subaimbi is just Ghanaian Subai or black people Subai. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
It's just human nature.
Mm.
You understand? So the other thing I have noticed though is, and there's another thing that kind of keeps Ghana and Africa where it is, the availability of information.
Okay.
Right? I was doing TikTok, just very simple thing. I was doing TikTok in the UK before I came.
Okay.
I did a video in the UK when I came. When I came to Ghana the next day, I did a video.
Mm.
The minute I landed in Ghana, the features on TikTok changed.
Wow.
Right? Basic one, having the captions
Okay.
is not available in Ghana.
Okay.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
When if I Google something here and I Google the same thing in the UK, you get different results.
Wow.
You understand?
So we are in a cage of our own.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. And
We are being limited to things they want us to see.
you understand?
Mm.
So the thing I have an understanding because of history and my understanding of history and how these people operate is people directly benefit from the dysfunction in the country.
Mm.
You understand?
Mm.
Me, I have to speak carefully because I don't want somebody to come and put me in some jail. I don't think I'll survive jail. Right?
All right. So
But
you feel free.
we have to ask who our leaders are serving.
Mm.
Whose interests are our leaders serving?
Mm.
You understand?
Mm.
Because people benefit from that dysfunction. Somebody is benefiting somewhere from that dysfunction.
Mm.
Because the fact that internet is so expensive, the satellites are in the sky, the same sky. We all have the same sky.
Yeah.
In the whole world, we have the same sky. So
Even tomorrow or maybe Tuesday, probably Tuesday, MTN is increasing bundle and credit.
Yes, you understand.
Mm.
It's expensive on purpose.
So far, how do you see? I mean, when it comes to relating with Ghanaians, you'll be going to market, you'll be going to town. How do you see the kind of attitude, mentality? How do you see us? Are we okay, or there's something missing somewhere?
I think what
Me, I've been saying Yapodam.
but everybody is crazy.
But our level of Yapodam,
No,
you
you
know
know what
something.
it
Where
is?
we are coming right now, if you could see what the rain have, I mean, a whole decongestion the rain have caused in town, and I was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
You got me? We do things as if we are not human beings.
It's because we don't respect ourselves, right? People have a mentality that because Abuja is better, they would destroy their own land. Right? In the UK now, they've put a law in place that even if you have a British passport, they can deport you. The person who put that law in place is Indian. She herself is not even British.
Wow.
One thing I want people to understand, the only place that's safe for you as an African is Africa. And we understand that Africa is not safe. So I should repeat it. The only place that's safe for you as an African is Africa. Right? Because anything you do, they're looking for a reason to send you back. We are you are just going there as an extension of slavery. They did in the UK, the nurses, the teachers, and everybody was on strike. You know, they did a nationwide strike this week.
Really?
Right?
UK?
Yeah, nearly 1 million people went on strike. Nurses,
Million people
teachers.
went on strike.
Yes.
Whilst
the
over
biggest
here,
strike.
even our teachers are afraid to go on strike.
Right. Nurses, teachers, etc. The nurses and teachers have been striking for a while. The government refused to even negotiate with them. Instead, they said nurses and teachers from Africa should come.
Okay, so that's why they are trying to negotiate with Ghana government to get them some nurses. Wow.
5 hours a week, 15 hours a week. You understand? So
Yeah. So you try to convince me that UK is not heaven. Ghana is Africa is heaven.
heaven is what you make it. Because you
So
know
currently Ghana and Africa is your heaven. You
Yes.
said that in Tamale that Africa
yes,
and Ghana
for
is
me,
heaven.
for me it's heaven. The fact that I can go and pick a mango from my tree and eat it freely like this. Right? In the UK, like if somebody's hungry today and they walk along this street, there's how many different vegetable trees just along this street. In the UK, you don't find fruit trees outside.
You have to go to the
You have to go to the market and buy it. You understand? It's just a change in mindset and people's personal responsibility.
Are you saying this through my platform to the youth that the mentality of getting away from Africa, they should stop and then remain?
You know what? Let me even talk directly to the youth.
Talk to them.
Okay. if you are a young person right now, use your skills and invest in something right now. I promise you within 5 years you'll be successful. You will go there, you will have a relatively comfortable life, don't get me wrong. But in 5 years' time, you'll be in the same position. I know people who have left their mum's house, a whole compound, right? A whole compound. And they're living in, one specific person, he's living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 different men. Right? 2-bedroom apartment with 4 men. So if he has a girlfriend, they have to take turns. Who can bring the girl home that day?
Okay.
And then you have to go and find somewhere else to sleep.
You'll be running shift.
You understand? And that's the way that he can afford to rent a room in the UK. But when he comes to Ghana, he comes with his £500. Like £500, I can step out. Like we'll go like how 500 cedis goes here. But when you translate £500 to 500 cedis, they'll come and they'll go to the village. Give this person 100 cedis. Give this person 100 cedis. 100 cedis is like £10. Do you understand? Right? So everybody thinks, hey, this person he's living life. You understand? He's going back to go and share a room with another grown-ass man. You understand?
But somebody will say, okay, I'm going. When I make the money, I'll come home. Because over here, the foundation is not well. If I start a business right now, the system itself is collapsing my business.
Sure.
So,
and the thing is, like, I'm sympathetic. I understand. I didn't like, because I haven't grown up here, I have had the luxuries and all of those things, and I have the energy, and people are tired.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, if you're going there, just go with the knowledge that, one, nobody likes you.
Okay.
Right? Nobody's going to like you.
Put it in your mind that there is not your comfort zone.
There's not your comfort zone. Put it in your mind that, yes, you can send money back. Even if you send back £10 and you're giving out your house 100 cedis, maybe you're paying for the electricity in the house for the month. Right? Fine. But the way the world is moving now, the laws that are being put in place, what these people want to achieve in the next 10 years is not going to make anybody who's going there's life easier. People like my mom's generation who went there when they were younger had a completely different system. Okay. You go there, if you're pregnant, they give you a house.
But it's still going on
no,
today.
We don't have that in the UK.
Really? In the UK?
We don't have that.
Then maybe Germany and the likes of the US,
yeah,
maybe.
Germany has US is even worse.
Okay, so Germany,
other European countries, sure.
Okay.
You understand? But like the main thing I said before is those countries are developed because people developed it themselves.
Sure.
Not because the government developed it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
The French government, France is one of the most powerful countries in Europe. Right? The leadership are scared of the people because of the history. Right?
The leadership
are scared
of the people. Okay.
Right? Going all the way back to when Britain and America were fighting. And the French king did some nonsense. They dragged the French king and cut off his head in the square. You understand? So the French leaders, they know. France did their own universal demonstration. That was even bigger than the UK. You understand? You understand?
Great.
All the resources are here, right? And the education system is failing. The government is failing. I'm not even disputing that at all. But the people have to take responsibility.
So over there, the government is afraid of the people. But over here, the people are rather afraid of the leaders. Let me put it that way. We, the people, are afraid of the leaders. That link to your mission and then go here.
Yes.
Abusia, didn't come on baby. Na come on we ntimi we ni nyina de. Ekuro bi din de kajabi. Enti o kan na wajabi. You beto an come we so. Afei wa mayahu wa ba bedru Ghana. Wa have some experience ni ade. Na be mamohu ana ye bedin komo. Ne bota enti a o de ba Africa ne Ghana nyina. The mission o de ba in the next part 2 no. Mamohu sam komo. Let's say we share video no na wa like it. Also wa dwetire bi a na o to comment section ho. Musonfo ofani me ne Ama Andrea ene bon komo. Oje ne ja UK atwa ye wa ha. Oba ye so also be see nation anchor so na be de ba pro kuroni. Raf so wa ha say ya twe de sere ni abasa. So aba kuroni. ɔne tontom de bɛyɛ mu wɔ ha ma nya asɛm ketewa bɛda mo nyinaa ase bye bye